Episode 5, Out of the Mirror. Katrina woke in a small wooden room. The door was heavy and the furnishing shockingly elaborate. The bed was soft and clean. A small fireplace sported a smoldering pile of ash. Katrina looked around, finding her clothes washed and cleaner than she had ever managed. A knock came. "Are you decent, little sister?" A woman's voice called into the room. "Sister? You're no sister of mine. But yes, I am decent," Katrina replied. The door swung open, a shadow enveloping the frame. One point of the headdress came through first, followed by the head and body. Katrina stumbled away from the towering woman as she dominated the small room. "Sorry, a bad habit of mine. I have a personal request for you. Some belligerents are messing with my plans, and with our safety. I want them removed." Our? As in mine and yours, milady?" asked Katrina. "Yes," the High Lady responded. "And if I don't?" "You stay here with the others, but do this for me and you will have proven your use." Visenia giggled. Katrina took another step back, shoulders slumping away from the wall behind her. So who am I killing?" "The squire's little sister." Katrina's mind raced. That may take some time." "True," Visenia said, putting a finger to her lips in thought. Then raised that finger to Katrina. 1 week, little sister." The High Lady pressed the finger to Katrina's forehead, and blackness swallowed the smaller woman's vision. Katrina woke some time later in a clean alleyway. Fenrir sat at the bar of the Stray Fox, staring at nothing. A man approached him in the red and black of the city guard. The guard moved like a wildcat, grace and power in his steps. "Hey there, buddy. I'm Ular," the man said, slapping Fenrir on the back. "Chief says we're fighting next week." "Chief? You mean Vada? He better keep his side of bargain." "Old Chief keeps his arrangements. Speaking of which, we want to hire you out and your hounds for some work." "Coin and station on my price." "Station? All right, I'll see what I can do about that. In the meantime, we got a corpse in the northern district. Dead god, cut to pieces with sloppy strikes. Best if you can jump on that quickly." Fenrir nods and Ular smiles at the Kraken man before leaving. Katrina stumbled into the inn and rushed up the stairs. Then, a few minutes later, came back down and asked, "I've gotten myself into some trouble, and I need your help." "Honestly, surprised to see you here at all." "Either way, I got to..." She cut off and looked around before dragging Fenrir up the stairs into the attic. "Someone big wants me to kill the squires, and they'll take me again if I fail to in the next week. I need your help," Katrina whispered in the Kraken man tongue. "Oh, that is problem. You helping me, so I help you," he responded. "One concern, though. You know the rumors of the squire's prowess." "That's why we're here." Fenrir and Katrina looked at the old woman sitting near a fireplace in the far end of the attic. "I have agreed to help," Fenrir told his grandmother. "Good boy, Fenrir. Now, what has you looking so bothered?" Granny Charlotte asked. "How do we beat squires?" "Well, you could ambush them or draw them into a trap. You've said you are friendly with them." "One of them." "We need to get stronger," Fenrir declared. "It will not be so simple. These men are trained hard from birth, hardened by torturous rituals, and tempered in faith. Though you could... Could what? Fenrir leaned in close. There are certain places, dark places, that resonate power, where those desperate or fooled by greed seek strength from the very shadows that make the place. You could seek these places. Meat slid off bone as if oiled. The cleaver chopped bone and flesh with equal brutal efficiency. Each slice leaves the corpse in another piece, taking head from shoulder, shoulder from torso, and leg from hip. Want some fried ham? The round butcher asked, grease running down his flapping jowls. The man pulled a fresh piece off of the pig and slapped it into a pan on an open flame behind the counter. It sizzled and popped, the intoxicating smell of roasting pig wafting into the air. I was, hoping to buy some blood from you, Katrina said. When in the vial, the blood could be used to heal her in case she was injured again. The man scratched his chins. Oh yeah, always got some blood on hand. Just a few silvers for some pig's blood. He reached down and pulled some meat off the fire. He offered it to Katrina. At her denial, shrugged and slid it down his own gullet. He hummed happily as he lopped the carcass in half, separating ribs from the spine. Fenrir and Malara visited the crime scene. A bulky man with curly black hair was dead on the cold cobblestone. Blood that once ran was now frozen. Fury was pasted on the man's face. He wore a guard's regalia, now torn and caked in blood. The man had half a dozen minor cuts and 3 major ones. He was found in the alleyway behind his home where his wife now wept. Fenrir hunted about with Samwise, trying to find a source for the scent of the killer. Malara examined the body. Too many mixing scents in area, complained Fenrir. The man has a whole bunch of bruises, like the blade rolled on his gambeson or clothing, Malara said. Like whoever killed him isn't used to wielding a sword. Newly purchased blade from Smith? Probably, answered Malara. Oi! Fenrir called to a guard nearby. Who sells swords here? Arthur sells on the square, Decius behind the church, and Magnus sells on that hill over there. Though don't expect to get a sword from Magnus. Hasn't made one in about 9 years. Not that it would be affordable if he had. If you're looking for one, I'd recommend going to Decius. He's less likely to hike prices to foreigners. What about seedier folk? Fenrir asks. Pardon my rudeness, but same difference. Fenrir nodded. What you think, Malara? See this Decius? Through stink and filth, Katrina and Elidas strode, torches held behind their heads stretching their shadows to freakish length and proportion. Eerie drips echoed from bent halls and rusting pipes. Rats chittered just out of sight and scampered to and fro. You even know what we are looking for? Asked Elidas. Not really. Charlotte was really vague. Some place made of shadows. Figured the sewers would be a good place to start. Hours watered down the stench and the clamor of pipe and rodent. Light and blood seemed to fall in equal measure from the manhole. The pair climbed up to the surface where blood pooled and flowed into the hole. After a quick look around, they find nothing. Returning beneath the surface, they venture beyond the manhole. finding the sewers changing rapidly as they move farther and farther. Bravery dwindling, they retreat to find the others. I just sold 12 swords to the guards, 6 to some Thulazu traitors, and 6 to individuals. I think that was over the last month. Decius scratched his chin. Might be missing a couple, though. Could you describe these individuals? Fenrir asked. Decius frowned, furrowing his brow. Nobody particularly stood out. Not very good with faces. Thank you for your cooperation, Fenrir said before leaving the smithies. With the sun high in the sky, Malara and Fenrir returned to the inn to regroup with Katrina and Elidas. After a quick sharing of information, the four descend into the sewers. Down past the bloody hole, the stench of feces and piss gave way to rot and blood. The refuse and sludge of the sewer giving way to pooling, flowing gore. Torches alight on white hard bone as the walls are steadily replaced with rigid spines, curving ribs, and stiff femurs. Flesh, rotting at first, began to coat the walls, as the blood, running in the center of the once sewer, cleans and brightens. Soon the walls are covered in a thick layer of healthy muscle and fat. A faint, slow thrumming could be heard. The sewer walls suddenly open up into a fleshy room with pillars of bone and tendons holding up the ceiling. Across a wide pool of blood is a mirror set on a table of bone and muscle. They peer one by one into the mirror. It was a mirror, right? Malara, no reflection. Elidas, no reflection. Fenrir, no reflection. It reflects the bone and shadow of the room, but not torch, man, or cloth, Fenrir muttered. But when Katrina peered into the mirror, Elidas jumped back. Within was a cruel joke, a misshapen form of flesh and blood. It smiled back at Katrina as she frowned. Bone sprouted from where her eyes should have been, and her shoulders. A demonic mockery of the true Katrina. She turned to face the others. Well, at least it reflects one of us. Not too happy that it does without clothing, though. Elidas shook and slowly paced away. Got your face. Malara nodded. Does it hurt? It looks like it would hurt. Fenrir ducked to peek under her hood. She looks normal. You can't see the horns? Elidas asked, hiding behind a pillar. I see them there, Fenrir said, pointing to the mirror. Who knows what's wrong with them? Katrina muttered to Fenrir. But this is really strange. She reached forward as if needing to make sure the mirror was real. As her fingers brushed the smooth surface, her reflection kept moving, pushing out of the mirror and curling its fingers around her own. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Hit that cursed little bell, and I hope to see you around my campfire again.